intimidatingly big.
I'm not.
Well, now you do. Now you look like you're fast to your
I'd rather be sitting down. You guys can all stand.
What's got in the mug?
Coffee. Black.
Sure seems like you.
I didn't know I asked him. I said that because I found this cup because we ran out of the plastic cups. You know, and then I was looking, and this one has like a logo. Jackson. I'm like, should I just
the old
not?
logo?
I don't know. Is it?
You can flip it.
Is it?
I'll bet it's the
Is
old
it?
logo.
I don't know. Is it? Is it? Is
River
it?
teal, yeah, that's actually real.
That means you're in teal.
Yeah, it's bad when you're getting ready to play a game and you're worried about what cup you're using and bringing it in, and then you got to ask permission. So,
Buffalo has won 3 out of 4 to sort of roll in the playoffs. What have they done well from what you've seen?
well, they're a good football team. You know, they're physical on both sides of the ball. I think they've done a great job. Like we have most of the course of the year with turnovers. You know, they've created a lot of turnovers. I think they've, obviously have done a good job in their coverage unit, special team wise, and they're dangerous on offense. They can make plays. They have good guys on the perimeter. They have a premier tight end in Clay. Obviously with McCoy as a runner or Tolbert, they have a really good running game, and the quarterback's dangerous. He's done a lot of things that it's given us problems when plays get extended or quarterbacks run, things of that nature. It's been a challenge for us. So there's a lot of challenges for us, coming up with this game.
Their defense has given up 3 plays of 40 yards in the past game. How important is it for Blake to be patient and disciplined?
Yeah, I just think, like you said, you think, just basically it's one of those things like we always talk about, not being able to turn the ball over. When we haven't turned the ball over, we've been able to play well. Field position's a big, battle, within the game. And I think that you have to go out there and, like I told the players, know what you're doing, clean communication and do your job and, make sure you can execute well. And that's what happens, at this time of year.
Do you prepare that McCoy is definitely playing, or do you?
We prepare like he's playing, yep.
Is that just the best way to do it? Do you look at Tolbert? Spend any extra time looking at Tolbert, or just?
Oh yeah, he plays too. I mean, all the guys, Mike, that play, obviously, same for us. I mean, they're looking at all the guys that play for us, and we're looking at all the guys that play for them. So, you've got to be ready, for their best, and prepare for it.
McCoy is he's like 33% of their offense or something like that. What are the challenges if he does play?
I mean, he's a guy that can change field, can break tackles, take it to the house. He's excellent coming out of the backfield receiving. He's a Pro Bowl, running back. He's got all the ingredients that, that makes a, he's very, very dangerous on the field.
Your defense, as far as the pass rush pressure, when you have a scrambling quarterback, is it a matter of changing or just being more disciplined to stay at home? I mean, what is the thing that you tell your guys?
You know what's so funny about that is last night my wife called me and asked me the same question. No, I'm telling you the truth. She's like, well, hey, listen, this guy's dangerous, so I'm like, yep, yeah. I said, but you have to realize when you're rushing a quarterback, there are guys blocking and pushing those guys away too. You know what I'm saying? So I think, it's difficult to do that. And a lot of people, in my opinion, don't give the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, enough credit, meaning that he's done a very good job with the football. He throws an outstanding deep ball. He's very good intermediate routes, of throwing the ball. And I think that, because he's such a great athlete, because he can escape, a lot of things that are written are about those aspects of him which are unique and rare, which we understand that. But we're not losing sight of, how good he's been with the football, how well he's thrown the football. You know what I'm saying? And they have some players that can make those plays and 50-50 catches and cross the field and be able to go vertical.
How has Kelvin Benjamin helped their offense since they brought him in?
Well, he's another player when you look at, obviously he's a wide receiver with rare size. He has very good speed. He has rare size. He can break tackles. He can body up people, and he's outstanding. When the ball's up for the 50-50 catches because of the rare size. Obviously he has an advantage there. So it'll be a challenge again. When those balls are up in the air going to him.
Is your comfort level?
Someone get a text message. Oh, go ahead.
Is your comfort level with Josh's?
Meet you at the bar and after. No. Go ahead.
Is your comfort level with Lambeau's distance change at all as we move into a little bit colder weather?
I feel comfortable with him. I really do. I think that, pregame wise, I think we have a good feel of who he is, which is important. In other words, meaning, Gene, that, we know where his range is. We know what we feel. When we get on the field, everything has been very accurate as far as, hey, listen, we feel good about this distance. We feel this is a must. Feel very confident, in that.
Does that range change at all?
It does. Week to week, it does. More so for the away games. Does that make sense? Obviously we play here, so we know the wind and we understand the directions and all the stuff like that. So, we're monitoring that during the week, so we always have a good feel for that going into the game. And then it's just a matter of, how that player is performing on that day, when he goes out and kicks before. I think when we go on the road, we have a good indication of what's going to happen, but we become more solidified, the day of the game of what the directions are.
Doug,
and the distance.
How has Ngakoue grown as a leader this year?
I think he's always done a very good job as far as his work ethic and what he does, and it's a lot of it's by example. He's a very emotional player. I think that people can feed off that, and he's had a very good year, and he's still the same. He's still the same type of guy that plays with a chip on his shoulder. I don't think we all know that when we see him. And he plays extremely hard. He goes 100 miles an hour in every single play.
And how do you feel like Telvin's played since he's come back from the injury?
He's played well.
A lot of focus is going to be on Blake this week. 5 interceptions last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see him still do you still see his confidence at a good level?
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of it will be during the week, and I'll have a better feel for what we're doing. And if something doesn't look right or it doesn't feel right, then we'll just take that out.
Did he follow up on Blake? His future is uncertain. Why can athletes separate that? Why can they focus on the present and not how this could impact their future?
I don't think all athletes can do that. So I think but it's preached constantly. From a standpoint of we as coaches, and we've got to do that too. We got to brush some things off and move on. Whether it's good or bad. And that's the one thing that I've always learned before is, when I said this in the beginning, when we were going win, lose, win, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. You've got to go ahead and prepare and get ready for the next week, and try to avoid all the noise because, all the stuff on the outside, questions are going to be asked, things are going to be pointed out, and at the end of the day, they're factual, they're facts. But at the end of the day, it comes down to making sure of your performance, on Sunday. What do you have to do to perform on that day? And that's what's going to define you, for the following week. If you don't do well and you have another game the next week, you're going to be questioned. What happened? Why'd you do this? Those are all natural things. I think that, as a person in that position, you have to accept that responsibility that those things are going to happen. And learn from those mistakes. Don't get too overconfident if you're doing well. And go out and prepare the same way. That's probably the best way to do it.
Does having Hearns back bring a level of composure to the receiving room?
Who's that?
Hearns, just having him back and available.
Yeah.
It seems like the game is never too fast for that guy.
No. Allen's played. He's played a lot of football. He's been very productive in this league, and I still think that he'll be better this week than he was last week, and that's obviously exciting for us. To get him back.
Is there something too? If you're a rookie on the field and you see that guy back on the field with you, does that provide a real calming presence in the game?
You would think it would, yeah. You would think so. He's out there. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's someone that you've worked with. Seen for quite a bit. of time, over the years. Alan's been here, obviously Blake's been here, so I think that it does add a confidence to it, I think. But then it still comes back to making sure that you can perform, and do that. So, obviously we're happy to get him back. And I think it's more important, we look at just a Sunday and a performance maybe, with the questions, but I think a lot of that comes during the week too. Of him being out on the field, him working during the week, that confidence. And then the other guys, he's talking to them about, hey, let's make sure we prepare this, and that's where the leadership comes in.
Jerome Casey had some critical comments about Bortles yesterday. Said he put the game on his shoulders, he's going to choke. But my question is,
I didn't hear that.
Are you tired of guys coming out and ripping your quarterback? Do you not even care? Do you hear it? Obviously you don't hear it, but guy won 10 games. I mean, do you feel like he's getting ripped?
I really don't care. No, you know what I'm saying? I really don't. Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
He handles that kind of stuff exceptionally well, Blake, right? In terms of dealing with it and just kind of brushing it off.
Yeah, he's used to it. I mean, it's been happening quite a bit. I mean, if he doesn't, then how's he ever going to be the player he wants to be? You know what I'm saying? If he starts listening to that stuff, and he just, hopefully, I don't know how he handles it. Honestly, I know for me, I don't listen to any of that stuff. I just, we're on to the next opponent.
Doug, how much will you use the indoor this week, and how nice is it to have that option when the weather is sort of like this?
Well, I know this. I know the equipment guys and the medical staff and the weight coaches are fired up about the indoor. And I'm sure that, I went in there and busted their chops this morning about it. I go, hey, pretty good to have an indoor facility right now, right? They're like, oh, So, yeah, it definitely helps. And it helps from a standpoint of, we're going to we know what type of practice we're going to get. We're going to get a good practice today, and we don't have to worry about any of the elements on the outside of, the rain and those things. And we understand that, we know the weather, what we at least predict what it's going to be on Sunday. So we're aware of that. And if it was, a game where, we thought there was going to be rain, then we might practice some outside a little bit and then come back in. The one thing about the indoor, you can kind of do both. You can kind of get outside and get some work done, but you don't have to be out there the whole time, and then you can come back in.
In what ways has Jalen Ramsey improved over the last 2 seasons?
I think that, I've never had a problem with the way I didn't really know him last year, so I can't say that. Obviously I watched tape, but I think he's someone that takes a lot of pride in what he does. I think that he is an ultimate competitor. I think that he probably works a lot harder at studying the film than most people think, as far as the receivers and the people that he goes against. And I know that, every week, usually I'll come up to him and say, hey, tell me about the guy you're playing against. And he can rattle stuff off, exactly what he's looking for and keys and tips and things of that nature. So, even though, and I say this about Jalen quite a bit, and I get a lot of questions about him from, people in the industry, other coaches, is that, what you're able to see, that's the one thing. You're able to see, the height, the rare height, weight, speed, the things of that nature, the ball skills, But what people don't necessarily see is how hard that player works, on the tape, in practice, how competitive he is in practice. He doesn't want a ball completed on him in practice, and he's been like that the whole time. So I think that, when you talk about players, AJ is the same way, Boye, Colvin's the same way, and I think when you see people that are productive in this industry, I would say 99% of that goes back to all the things that you probably are not being able to see.
Can I just follow up the questions you get within the industry about him? Are those about his ability, his personality, all the above?
No, ability is never going to be the question because you see that on the field. It's like, hey, is he just a natural talent or does he work at it? He has both. That's why he can be an elite player.
Doug, I know you said yesterday or Monday that the past is the past, but Eric Wood said on the radio yesterday, you leaving Buffalo caught him off guard and that they're in a better situation now. He was a captain for you for 2 years and an O-line guy. What does that mean to you to hear, Eric Wood say that they're in a better position now with the guy they have as opposed to you?
I'm happy for him. I'm happy he feels that way. I really am. I have no issues with that.
And there's a lot of people in Western New York that, wondering still what happened. I mean, you coached them to their first 9-win season in a decade, and they still don't know. I mean, what happened?
Well, I think it's a long time ago, but I'm happy for their fan base. I'm happy for where they are. They've earned their spot. But more importantly, my concentration is on our team and our fan base. We've earned it too. We've been out of it for a long time. So, I don't go back to the past. But like I said before, I'm happy for them. I'm glad they're in a good place. I'm in a great place. I feel great about where I am. So I'm comfortable with it.
Are you disappointed when you were there that you didn't get Kyle Williams a handoff?
What's that?
Disappointed you didn't get him a handoff?
Well, we always knew he could, though. He's, the one thing you don't want about Kyle Williams, just so you know, he's like I think he might, he's like his handicap in golf, he's probably the best golfer. He will be the best amateur golfer in Florida on Sunday.
True. It's a fact.
That's a true fact.
Oak Hill.
Big guy like that?
Unbelievable athlete. Unbelievable golfer, I'm telling you. He's phenomenal.
What was he like to coach?
Great. Awesome guy. Yep, great play. A lot of those players. Not many of them are there, like we said before, but all the guys that were there were, outstanding. I didn't have any issues at all.
How much money do you take you off the golf course?
I don't golf. Come on, Mike, I'm smarter than that. I don't golf. I cook and eat.
Thanks, Doug.